Hey guys, I know this may seem a little hard to believe, but I actually auditioned to play Dr. Doom in the MCU. Isn't that sick? They just revealed to the world that I got the part. Let's check it out.
We give you the one person.
Oh my God, yes.
Who could play Victor Von Doom.
That's it. Here we go. Look, superhero media ruled in the 2010s. No one can objectify, I said it, so it's a fact. The 2010s were an amazing time to be alive. I should know. I was alive then. It brought things like Despicable Me, Vine, and the iPad, which also brought with it the first generation of iPad kids, which, hey, hi.
Hey guys, Epic Summer in here, so.
It also brought the golden age of the MCU, AKA my crack. Do you remember what it felt like when a new Marvel movie was releasing? The feeling of trying to figure out where the story was gonna go. Who are the next heroes that are gonna be introduced? How are they gonna play a role in this whole thing? Is this movie gonna have an Infinity Stone? What even is an Infinity Stone? And the best part of it all, at least for me, was trying to figure out what the end credit scene was gonna be. I just always thought that was super cool. There was so much hype, so much excitement, so many questions, and you know, a lot of pretty good to decent movies. Look, the MCU wasn't the most kick-ass film studio there ever was, but they had a couple of bangers. The first Avengers, Civil War, The Winter Soldier, Thor Ragnarok. Those films are just genuinely really good movies. And then they also had some pretty bad movies like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, and Thor The Dark World. We didn't need these. We didn't need these. Come on. But that didn't matter how good or bad one of the movies were. We still watched them. Why? For the plot. The first three phases of the MCU were coined the Infinity Saga, an overarching narrative where our main characters were stopping bad guys, finding rocks, and making sure a big purple guy from space didn't get them. I think I'll add this to my rock collection. The entirety of these three phases were leading up to these two movies, Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. And though I think one of these films is better than the other, they did it. Marvel stuck the landing. What an absolutely incredible finale to the story. That's it. That's the end, folks. Thank you for watching. Marvel was winning. All eyes were on them. Everyone was watching, including companies with their own superhero IP under their belts. While the superhero fans were watching these movies in pure excitement, the people at the top, the money-hungry bastards, were like, man, how are we gonna get this for ourselves? How are we gonna get a piece of the cake? I want the money. I want Iron Man. That's probably how those conversations went. I don't really know. I wasn't a part of them. But because of that, I would like to introduce you to what we have right now, an oversaturated superhero market. I probably didn't need to tell you that that problem exists. It's been apparent for so many years. We've already had so much superhero stuff come and go. Most notably, the DCEU. Warner Brothers had access to the DC superheroes. And with that power they held in their hands, they tried to copy Marvel, and it didn't work. They just kept trying and trying and trying and failing and failing and failing to the point where now the DCEU is restarting. We'll see how that goes. I actually kind of hope it works. Warner Brothers failing, I think, sent a signal to all the other companies. They were probably like, okay, well, we can capitalize on the superhero surge that's happening right now, but we probably shouldn't copy Marvel. So let's try doing our own stuff. How about we be a little bit more creative, which I actually really like. I'm happy that this happened because, yeah, I don't want another Marvel. Reinvention. Look, copying things that worked in the past, it's cool. You know, you can do it. But eventually audiences are gonna realize and they're gonna get tired of it. The MCU had a formula that worked. It really worked. I mean, like, it really, really worked. And that's exactly why they're failing right now. Before we talk about the failures of Marvel and the crazy decision that is having RDJ play Dr. Doom, which, like, what are we doing? Why didn't we choose me? Come on, I would have done it. Nobody wants to see that. I don't even want to see that. I want to first take a step back and talk about the formula and why it worked so well in the first place. Marvel's first three phases were pretty interesting. Phase 1 was just their idea, but it worked really well. So they took that formula and did it again for phase 2, and it worked. Pushed the boundaries even more, brought it to phase 3, and boom, amazing, we peaked. They tried it one more time, and now they're crashing and burning. They're dying. Phase 1 started off with the original Iron Man movie. This brought us Robert Downey Jr., arguably the main character of the MCU, and it also just brought us a really good movie. But on top of that, at the very end, if you stuck around to the credits, boom, end credit scene, Nick Fury walks in. I would like to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. Oh my God, that's so cool. After that, we got the Incredible Hulk movie. This movie's okay. At the end of the movie though, we get to see Iron Man in the end credit scene talking about he wants to put together a team. And then we get Thor. This movie's all right. I personally really enjoyed my time when I first watched this, but it's not the most groundbreaking thing in the world. We get introduced to Thor, his brother Loki, and Hawkeye. We get another Iron Man movie. This one was okay. It showed us Black Widow, and then boom, Captain America. This is arguably the worst Captain America movie out of the Captain America trilogy, but I think this movie is still awesome. It showed us Captain America's origin story, Tony Stark's father, Howard Stark, and then also we get to see the Tesseract. But over the course of these years, we were getting these okay to pretty good movies, and it was all leading up to, boom, the Avengers. At this point, we've already met all 6 of the Avengers. They just haven't met each other. We've already seen the main villain, Loki, in the Thor movie, and we've seen the Tesseract, the item he uses in Captain America. It's just cool. The culmination of all this, boom, into here is the Avengers movie. Enjoy. $1 billion. It made $1 billion. And rightfully so. This movie is sick. This movie and Iron Man 1 are the 2 best movies in phase 1. This moment in theaters was an event that I was too young to actually see in theaters. I think I was 10 and I didn't know about the MCU at the time. After we see the Avengers prevail, stop Loki in their tracks, save the day, at the end of the movie, we see Thanos. Big purple guy from space who wants rocks. And this moment right here was the beginning of when they took that formula and just cranked it up to 11. They started releasing even more movies and having a bunch of interconnecting plot lines, mainly the Infinity Stones. There was 6 Infinity Stones total that you had to keep track of. Some of them were in space, some of them were in Earth, some of them we didn't even know the whereabouts. We followed these next 2 phases, getting introduced to more characters and learning more and more about these space rocks. And it all led up to Infinity War and Endgame, where Thanos was finally gonna come in and collect those rocks for himself so he could kill half the universe. And oh my god, Thanos is so cool. I just needed to put that out there. Like, Thanos is one of the coolest villains I have ever seen on the big screen. Some of the stuff he says is just so sick. The hardest choices require the strongest wills. I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I used the stones to destroy the stones. Oh my god. Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame was so sick. We got an awesome conclusion to the story with the man who started this whole thing. I am Iron Man. And with that, we also got the endings to a bunch of our favorite characters. And this was the moment where Marvel started to become doomed. Introducing Disney Plus. I hate this thing. I hate this thing. As you could probably tell, I don't like Disney Plus. It was an interesting idea, but that's all it ever was. Keep it that way. Keep it as an interesting idea. Why did you make it ruin all of the cool franchises you had? Marvel got wrecked. Star Wars fans, I feel bad for you. When Disney Plus got introduced, we got the promise of more Marvel content, which I at the time thought was a really good idea. But this led to an already very apparent problem in the Marvel Studios, just getting cranked up to an 11. Quantity over quality. To fully catch up with all 3 phases of the MCU, you gotta watch 23 movies. Now we can all agree that that's a lot. And now Disney was thinking, why don't we give you guys
even more and at a faster rate?
Long story short, it didn't work for a couple of reasons. Reason number 1. Since Endgame ended, we didn't really have a direct idea of where the Marvel universe was gonna go. Honestly, there was kind of nothing to look forward to. This just felt like a nice ending. Number 2, with that being said, a lot of our characters, the ones that we really liked, got an ending. So now the next phase is just gonna have to show us a bunch of new characters and really hope that we care about them, which could have really worked if you didn't rush all of them. Marvel started introducing all of these new characters, which I don't really think they had a solid idea for how they were gonna make us care about each and every single one of them, besides the fact that they're a superhero and could potentially be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They also introduced a bunch of them through TV shows, and their TV shows just really were bad. They were really bad. I don't think there's a single Marvel TV show that I liked. Now, if you go to the comment section right now and you tell me, but Loki was good, Loki season 1 and season 2. 2 things. Number 1, I didn't watch Loki season 2. And number 2, Loki is an already established character. Okay, so he is void of this point. I'm talking about the new characters that we got introduced to in a freaking TV show. We got introduced to this dude named Moon Knight, and he's cool, right? He's sick. I don't even know if he's a part of the Marvel universe. It really wasn't even clear what the point of that TV show was. It wasn't just to make the Marvel fans happy. No. Because all of these Marvel TV shows, they don't care about making us happy. They care about advancing the plot. Because these Marvel TV shows weren't polished with quality. They just wanted to pump them out as fast as they could. And also have a lot of cameos. And also talk to us about potential things that were being set up in the future. It was all really just a mess. And it just felt like Marvel kept releasing these projects and telling us, this is under the Marvel IP. And you like Marvel, right? So you're gonna watch this, right? And you're gonna stick around and and watch the next one and the next one and the next one, right? Because we're Marvel. We just made almost $3 billion a couple of years ago. Where'd everyone go? Everything came out really quick, the quality of a lot of these projects dipped, and the multiverse narrative that they were trying to introduce to a general audience was not only confusing, but honestly, Marvel didn't even know what they were doing with it. I think it's really interesting that the TV show WandaVision. You are recommended to watch this before you watch Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because it'll help you understand the movie a lot better if you watch this TV show. That makes sense, except it doesn't, because the writers of Multiverse of Madness, the movie, weren't actually even able to watch WandaVision before writing their script because the show wasn't out yet. So how does that make any sense? Marvel had too much coming out. They just couldn't even keep track of what they were doing with each of these shows and movies. A lot of cameos were taking place and they were being executed pretty poorly. Am I the only one that stopped getting excited whenever a cameoed character was appearing on screen? It just felt like there was no plan for anything. They were just trying to give us a bunch of dopamine rushes without even giving us a compelling story to grapple onto. And worst of all, Kang. Oh my God. Kang is a time traveler that has access to technology from any century. The movies and TV shows didn't do a good enough job to teach me that. I actually just had to search that up right now. With the ability of having time in the palm of your hands, all he did was just waste yours. Because they spent 2 seasons of Loki building up Kang. They also had him in the Ant-Man Quantumania movie, and now I don't even think they're gonna use him. Which makes sense because Jonathan Majors is actually a villain in real life, but still, my God, it's just like, wow, Marvel already had a giant issue, and now their main villain is a fucking... I'm burnt out. Now, Marvel Studios isn't where it wants to be right now, but that doesn't mean that the superhero genre is cooked. Thankfully, there's actually a lot of great superhero media coming out in the meantime. Not at the super fast rate that it was coming out at before, but still, it just shows that there's still an audience for this kind of genre. I mean, people just love superheroes, you know? And I am people. Hi, nice to meet you. You guys remember Spider-Verse? Not only did that bring a fresh and interesting take on the Spider-Man story, but it also was a film about the multiverse that actually made sense and was easy for audiences to understand. Isn't that a little crazy? Also, the animation was really cool. I liked it. We also had another animated project come out. You ever heard of Invincible? The amazing comic book turned into a phenomenal TV show adaptation. It is everything we love about a classic superhero story, but with a lot more mature and real themes littered throughout. And then we got My Hero Academia. Now, this isn't new. The manga has been going on for 10 years, and it actually just ended with a really horrible ending, but that's potentially a video for another day. But even that was anime's most successful attempt at the superhero genre, and honestly, it gets clowned on a lot, but it has some good moments. And then we got The Boys, arguably the most mature thing in the superhero genre that's coming out right now. It's having a pretty interesting run. It just finished up its 4th season, and though I'm not personally the biggest fan of The Boys, it's good, and there's a giant audience for it that absolutely love this show. As you can see, the superhero genre, it's expanding in age ranges. It's not just for kids and PG-13 people. It's for all ages. We all want to watch a good superhero take down some bad guys. Honestly, maybe it's a good thing that Marvel is failing. Marvel was meant to crash and burn so that new IPs and ideas can emerge from the ashes. Marvel Studios also decided to do something pretty interesting by revitalizing their old X-Men TV show and releasing X-Men 97. This TV show is a continuation of the old X-Men series, but it can be watched standalone, I should know, because I watched it without watching anything else before it, and man, oh man, did it get some emotions out of me, dude. Oh my God. Oh, dude, it was so cool. The thing is though, even though I like that show, I almost never watched it. And that's because Marvel has been having flop after flop after flop. And sadly, this show did something for me that I kinda honestly didn't really want it to do. It gave me hope. Hope that maybe Marvel might get better. This viewpoint is also reinforced by the fact that Marvel has admitted that they know that they messed up and they are trying to take a little bit of a hiatus. They stopped releasing a bunch of their movies, they canceled a couple of their TV show projects, and they're gonna take a step back, figure out the actual game plan for what they wanna do moving forward, and then start releasing movies, which I think is pretty cool. So this brings us to this. I wanted to start off this segment with doing the NSYNC song, but the video got copyrighted. So here is an AI of me dancing that someone in my Discord server made. So Marvel's having like a complete revamp of their projects, which is pretty cool. The only movie that they were planning on releasing this year was Deadpool and Wolverine. And I watched that movie. And I honestly, I walked into that theater ready to hate watch it. I was so ready to just be like, man, yep, Marvel's cooked. They even messed up Deadpool. I cannot believe them. Pitchforks and fire. But then I actually really liked it. For anybody who's seen it, I mean, just from the opening scene, like the first 3 minutes, you just know that this movie is going to bang. And bang it did. The overall movie, I think, is an 8 out of 10, which is probably a bit generous. Because look at the story, honestly, it is just very bare bones. But I don't care because Deadpool and Wolverine were sick. And I just love seeing their chemistry on screen. And I loved seeing Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. And I am now realizing I am part of the problem. Do you see what I just said there? Cool characters being alongside each other in these superhero IPs can make up for the fact that the story is bad. I am part of the problem. I just realized. Still though, I did really like this movie and I do want more Deadpool moving forward, but I also want good stories that aren't just carried by a strong main character. Because when we don't have a strong main character backing up these stories, we just have a bad product. Next year, there's a Captain America movie coming out, and I've already watched the trailer for it, and this is how I watched it. I'm kind of amazed that a Captain America movie had not brought a single bit of excitement out of me. I mean, there was cool stuff happening, don't get me wrong, but I don't think this movie is gonna be good. And at the end of the trailer, when we saw Red Hulk grab Captain America's shield and slam it into the ground, I did not care. And that's crazy, because Red Hulk was a character I was so excited to see in the MCU. And now that he's finally here, I just feel like they're just gonna waste this character. And that sucks. I don't think Marvel is going to be able to do justice to their Marvel characters. Also, side note, this movie is coming out on February 14th. Fellas, let me tell you something real quick. If you take your girl to go watch this movie with you, you're gonna wake up on February 15th without a girl. Why are they releasing this film on Valentine's Day? Now let's look into the future. Captain America looks pretty lame. Next up, we got this movie called The Thunderbolts. No, I do not want to watch this movie. I'm gonna be honest, I do not care about any of these characters. After that, we got the Fantastic Four. This movie actually had a little bit of a trailer leaked online, so I got to see it, an exclusive sneak peek, and it looks like it has some style to it. I'm actually pretty excited about this film. And now in this video, let's come full circle to this moment. The Dr. Doom reveal. The next Avengers movie is gonna be called Avengers Doomsday, with Dr. Doom being the main villain. And I know it seems like I'm a giant hater in this video, and that I don't like the Dr. Doom reveal. And yeah, I do have a lot of frustration towards it. Kinda do wish they just chose another actor to play Dr. Doom instead of relying on RDJ. But also, I think this movie is going to slap. RDJ is an incredibly good actor. He killed it as Iron Man, then went on a side quest to win an Oscar. Actually did it, and now he's back in the MCU because there's a lot of money to be made, and also he just cares about it. The MCU is the thing that made him the giant mega star he is today. So yeah, I don't have a lot of trust in Marvel Studios, but I do have a lot of trust in Robert Downey Jr. in being able to take the character of Doom and doing him justice. Accompanying the return of Robert Downey Jr., we also get the return of the Russo brothers. And this is the part that I am the most excited about. These two guys brought us 4 incredible movies in the MCU. They're like 4 for 4 right now. Somebody call them Wendy's. That was a bad joke. These two directors have done an amazing job with character-centric superhero stories. They're pretty much the reason why Thanos is so freaking cool. And now you're telling me they have the privilege of bringing Dr. Doom to the big screen? Are you kidding me? The movie might actually be fire. But bro, I swear to God, what are the Avengers gonna do when they see Dr. Doom's actual face? They better not have Peter Parker being like, Mr. Stark, I love you 3000. And then Dr. Doom looks at him and is like, I hate you 3000, Spider-Man. Don't do that. So yeah, I have hope for the next couple years in the MCU. Like, I think the MCU might be able to turn all this around and fix itself. But also, what is the plan to bring the X-Men into the universe? This is just a thought I've had for the longest time, and we're just not getting any answers for it. I just feel like there's no natural way for you to introduce all of these characters into our already established universe. I felt like the most logical thing the MCU should have done was just to restart everything, use Phase 4 as a way to wrap up all of our superhero stories, and then reestablish the MCU universe with all of the IP already existing in the world. I feel like that would have just been the best, right? Because man, the MCU, it's a mess right now. But as annoying as it all is, I kind of don't even mind it. Let me know what you guys think about the Dr. Doom review. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe, go watch my other videos, and click the join button to become a channel member. It really helps. Thank you. See ya. I love you 3000. Corny. Stupid ending.